Okay.
Hi, Dave. How are you?
Morning.
Obviously, there was purpose to today's practice. How challenging is it when it appears at times to be a systemic issue with this team when they struggle? They sort of turn inwards a bit, and you know what I mean? Guys maybe get a little. They don't. I mean, the only way you're going to get out of this is by digging, right?
We just needed a good practice. We haven't had time to practice in a long time. There are some issues that we wanted to address today, and I thought our players competed very hard today. But there's been, like I say, not much time to practice, and it's been trying to conserve energy. So today wasn't about conserving energy. It's about getting back to work a little bit and trying to get that focus back that we were missing last night.
Dave, bear with me for just a second. Alex Ovechkin said in Washington that he says, we couldn't play the same. We had to change the way we play if we wanted to win. Sid Crosby became the best player in the defensive zone and the offensive zone. Is your leadership group at a point now where it needs to say, okay, we can score, yeah, but we've got to defend. This team needs its leaders to defend more. Is that fair?
I would say our whole group still has a lot to learn there. I think we've made strides with it. We've talked long and hard about it, but there's still more work to be done. And it's our staff's responsibility to make sure that they know exactly what's expected for them structurally wise, and hold them accountable to it. Accountability is to winning. It's not to. And we've chased too many games. We've got ourselves into situations like I mentioned with our team this morning. We chase games, and no matter who you are, you're not as good a team when you chase a game. And so we've got some learning to do. But I think at times we've played some games that are done very well to the mode you're talking about, and at times we've been inconsistent with it. And that's the coaching staff's job to keep pounding away until we find that consistency.
I guess does it have to drive home with the best players on your team? Leon Draisaitl's been a minus player for like 16 games in a row here.
Yeah, he's struggled. It's been a struggle for him, but he's a guy that has to continue to work at it.
Dave, there was a game about 3 weeks ago. You said you thought you maybe might have had more drop passes than shots on goal in a period. Do you sense there's still a reluctance to just get across the blue line, fire it on net, create chaos? Are you doing enough of that?
I would say we're not doing enough of it, and it's less about the drop passes we're doing. We're not getting enough attempts to do it, and that's, for me, it's defending well in our own zone, making good plays out of our own zone, making good plays in the neutral zone to get you to the offensive zone. Now, getting there, I think what part of the problem is we've got there and we haven't got there enough, so we think we got to do something really special when we get there. And the really special turns into sometimes disasters. So the more times you can get there, the more times you can simplify it and get it to the net, the more gratified you are. If you're not there very often, you got to feel like you got to do something really special when you get there, and that's when you run into problems.
Dave, your schedule in November and December was pretty loaded, and I know, Draisaitl and McDavid have been playing a lot of hockey. You look at the schedule in January, I think you guys got 9 games in January. It's a bit more spread out. You got, obviously, the bye and the break. How much is that going to help, particularly those two guys, now that, they carry the big load, but now they're going to have some time to kind of recover, and it's going to be more quality as opposed to quantity, I guess?
I think it's a factor for our whole team, not just those two big guys. Like, we got a guy like Clef has carried a lot of minutes too, And we had a real purpose at the start. We wanted to get off to a good start. That was imperative to our group. So we pushed people hard. We pushed Clef hard with some of the, with Lars's injury. We pushed Bearsy hard, who was a young guy that came in, and we never expected him to get that kind of minutes. So we pushed hard and went through a tough part in our schedule. The way that I look at it, the first 20 games, we were pretty solid. Come out of the gate, we won some games. There were some games we didn't play as well, but we had there was a lot of purpose in what we were doing. And the next 20 games, what happens is after the first month, the league starts to get to know your team, and you got two guys driving the offense, like driving it, 50 points, and all of a sudden, if you're another team coming in here, you're saying, hey, better take those guys away. So it gets harder. So when it gets harder for those guys to score, then there's a frustration that comes in, and now you start, just like we're talking about, trying to do more, trying to do more, trying to do more, and you're chasing the game all the time. And that's where, to your point, Spec, is about, Dry's been chasing the game here for a while, right? And he's chasing the game because he's trying to win. He's not trying to get minuses. He's not out there to try to get minuses. He's chasing the game to try to win. And it's got harder and harder for him because other teams are really bearing down on those guys. So we need a better team cohesion all the way through. Not rely on those guys as much, and make sure those guys know that we don't have to rely on them as much. Rely on a team game. Because if you think about it, coming through camp, we came out of there, we were playing some pretty good team games, and now we've started chasing it, and we don't look like as good a team. We got to get back to playing a real good team game, and that's, our staff has talked about it the last couple of weeks, getting back to getting some rest, getting some good practice, getting that focus in place. Today was the best practice we've had in 6 weeks, I think, and that's on the coaches, but it's also a little bit of our schedule dictating that kind of stuff, where you're not driving people into the ice.
Archibald Benning obviously made the 2 moves today as well, in terms of placing a couple guys on waivers. So we're expecting some changes potentially. Maybe we have to wait on that, but just an update on
Yeah, we'll figure that out after tonight. Archie took a puck on the inside of the knee there the other day, or last night, and was pretty sore today. So I think he'll be fine going into the game against New York. But Benning out there, non-contact, non-real competitive yet, so he's making strides, but not there yet. And the call-ups will decide after Bakersfield game tonight.